What's up everyone, it's Kovarks here, back on the Kovarks Sports channel, and today we are going to be giving you my top 25 rankings after week 2 going into week 3. It was once again another crazy week in college football, and we'll get into that here in a second. Before this video starts, I do want to say that I'm planning on doing my top 25 rankings and my kind of Nebraska pump-up video. Just those two videos on the channel each week from now on. Maybe I'll sneak in a random video of some sort just talking about something or something cool about college football or whatever. Just a random fact, but it could be just a random fact, but I could be making random videos sometimes, but it's mostly just going to be 2 a week. I apologize, but school just started. A lot of things are happening, so I'm managing a lot of things at once. However, if you do want to hear my opinions and my reaction each week, make sure to go over to my podcast channel, because there you are going to hear tons of reactions from not just me, but my good friend Brivical. His channel will be linked down below, as well as the Noma Sports podcast channel. That is my podcast, so if you want to hear what I think about each week of the college football season, make sure to go check that out. Each episode's about 30 minutes to an hour, but I may start time-stamping them so that way you can see what's what. So if you want to see my upcoming predictions for the upcoming week or whatever, then you'll be able to see those. So that's enough blabbing. Let's go ahead and get into the rankings. They're all over the place this week, I'm going to be honest. Start off with Alabama and Georgia. No change there. Makes sense. Alabama. I thought about switching Alabama and Georgia just because Georgia destroyed UAB, and UAB is a much better team than Mercer. I think they beat UAB more than Alabama beat Mercer. I didn't watch the Alabama-Mercer games, obviously, so I don't know what happened there. If the backups were in the second quarter, I don't know. But either way, I thought about switching them, but let's be honest, Alabama's probably the better team. Then Oregon shocked Ohio State in Columbus, their first win ever over the Buckeyes. They are now 2-0. I'm going to bump them all the way up to 3 where Ohio State was. They were at 11 last week in my poll. Or not my poll, my rankings, whatever. If I say poll, that's what I mean. But they shoot way up. Same with Iowa. They were at 12, just behind Oregon. Still behind Oregon. 2 very quality wins, one of them on the road. I know the final score, they only beat Iowa State by 10, but they dominated in that game. Overall, I think Iowa's a great team. They're forcing turnovers, they're playing defense, they're playing okay offense. Honestly, it's better offense than I expected. Will they sustain this? Who knows, but right now they're looking like a really good team. Oklahoma beats Western Carolina 76-0. Even up against an FCS team, I feel like that's still impressive, almost putting up 80, over 3/4 of 100. That's pretty impressive no matter who you're playing. Even the number 16, Clemson, couldn't do that. You could switch Clemson, Oklahoma, but Clemson's 1-1, Oklahoma's 2-0, and I know Clemson played tougher teams. Oklahoma also lost to Tulane, or almost, not also. You can flip them, but that's just how I have it. Cincinnati, they struggled early against Murray State, but I think they're just kind of looking ahead to Indiana. They end up blowing Murray State out, and I think this is still a really good Cincinnati team, and they're definitely beating my expectations. They destroyed Miami, who almost beat Minnesota, who almost beat Ohio State. I know Ohio State lost to Oregon, but Ohio State's still a really good team. You could see them down at number 10. I know that's a little bit lower than what some polls have them at, but they're 1-1. They struggled early on against Minnesota, who almost lost to Miami of Ohio, who got blown out by Cincinnati. I'm going in circles now, but you can still put them in the top 10, I think, just because they're Ohio State, and we know that it's very likely for them to bounce back, but I'm a little concerned if I'm a Buckeye fan, because the offense isn't as good as it has been in years past, and the defense is lacking. So, going back though, number 8 is Penn State. Really good win over Ball State. I thought Ball State was going to maybe keep it close. I know they struggled a bit with Western Illinois, but I thought they'd rebound, the MAC champion from last year. Penn State destroyed them. They also got a good one over Wisconsin. I think Penn State's a really good team, and I'll give them the edge over A&M, who almost lost to Colorado. I think A&M's still a top 15 team, but it's a little worrying. We'll have to see how that goes. I will mention that I didn't have Colorado anywhere in my top 25 poll, including the honorable mentions, but I guess that could be an honorable mention for the honorable mentions, if you will. So I just wanted to mention that. I kind of just forgot them. Ohio State, we already talked about them. So at number 11 is Florida. Good win over USF on the road. I think it was on the road. Then they beat FAU, who I think went 10-3 in 2019, and then like 4-5 last year. So FAU's not a bad team, and they destroyed them. I think FAU made some big mistakes in that game though, which kind of made them struggle. But either way, Florida looks really good, and they have a showdown with Alabama this weekend. I can't wait to watch that one. Then UCLA, I bump them way up. I know they didn't play, and LSU isn't looking as good, but I still think this is a quality team. And with all the chaos, you can see these teams are all over the place. Coastal Carolina's next. They struggle with Kansas, so I kind of regret putting them this high, but I'm really conflicted on some of these. Notre Dame really didn't look like a top 25 team because they almost lost to Toledo and Florida State. And Florida State lost to Jacksonville State on the Hail Mary. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was crazy. Notre Dame's not looking great. Coastal Carolina struggled early against Kansas. I probably have both of those teams ranked a little too high, but I'm going to be honest, I'm really conflicted about a lot of these teams. We just don't know enough yet, and this season's been crazy so far. It's going to be interesting how this thing shapes out. Then Wisconsin, they get a good win over Eastern Michigan. They lost to Penn State, but I think they'll bounce back, and I think they're a top 15 team and will be by the end of the season. I expect them to be because it is Wisconsin. At number 16, we have Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech looks pretty good. They struggled, the final score, I think they only beat Middle Tennessee State by 21. But either way, Virginia Tech, they beat UNC, who I have next, so I think they're pretty good. UNC, they bounced back after being Georgia State. Both Virginia Tech and UNC have been good in the past, and we think are probably pretty good this year, so I'm going to give them both of the benefit of the doubt and put them at 16-17. Of course, Virginia Tech first, because they won that matchup. Arizona State at number 18, they're rolling. They're looking like the best team in the Pac-12 South, or UCLA's in the Pac-12 South, so scratch that, but they're looking really good, and I think the Arizona State has a bright future, and it seems so far that the offseason distractions haven't affected them all that much. Then you've got Ole Miss here at number 19. Ole Miss had a really good win against Austin Peay. I know they're not great, but they put up a bunch of points. That classic Ole Miss offense, they did the same thing against Louisville. I think this is going to be a pretty good Rebel team, and they are definitely a team to watch out for. USC, just minutes before I recorded this, Clay Helton got fired. I bet I'll probably talk about that on the podcast, but that's already going to be full, so I don't know if we'll fit that in. I'm not going to give you all my thoughts right now, but I'm a little surprised. I kind of expected it by the end of the season after an embarrassing loss to Stanford, but not this early, and now that I think about it, I don't know why I have them ranked. Coastal, USC, and Notre Dame, I really probably ranked them a little bit too high. Moving on now, we have number 21, Iowa State. Maybe Iowa State too, because let's be real, they almost lost to Northern Iowa. Good FCS team, a really good FCS team. But Iowa State, if they're a top tier team, they should crush them. I know Iowa State always struggles early, but then they got destroyed by Iowa. Iowa may be a top 5 team, who knows? Maybe Iowa State just got unlucky. They normally start the season poorly, but it's not looking good for the Cyclones, and they look very overrated, at least from my rankings. TCU at number 22, the Horned Frogs have looked pretty good. I did move them down one spot just because I think a lot of teams look better. But more importantly, just they struggled against Cal, and Cal lost to Nevada. I think Nevada's a good team, but I don't know. This one I'm kind of on the fence on. Auburn at number 23. They had a pretty good win. I think they shut out, was it Kent State or Akron? I'm not quite sure. I know they played Akron, and I think they played an FCS team, and they got a shutout in one of those two, so I'm not. Something like that. They've looked really good, and because there's so much unknown about this Auburn team with Brian Harsin now, I'm just going to rank them because they could turn out to be really good, and a lot of teams have been struggling with bad teams. Cough, cough, Notre Dame. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and rank them. Arkansas crushes Texas. I did not see this one coming. I thought after Arkansas struggled a bit with Rice and Texas destroyed Louisiana, and Louisiana almost lost to an FCS team, so maybe Rice is good. I'm not quite sure. I don't know how they did in week 2. They may have had a bye week or something, but either way, Arkansas looked really good. This could be a quality team. They could possibly finish the season ranked. Does Sam Pittman have something going? We'll have to see. Then BYU rounding it out with a big win over Utah, their first win over the Utes since I believe 2009. Great win for BYU. Maybe they're still a really good team. Maybe losing Zach Wilson and all the other guys, maybe they're able to reload. I don't know, but they're joining the Big 12 now, so that'd be a nice advantage to have. That is my top 25, but like always, we'll go for the honorable mentions. Kentucky destroys Missouri. I know Missouri came back late, but they're in heavy control of that game. Big one for Kentucky. Congratulations to them. Then Tulane, the Green Wave have looked really good. They almost knocked off Oklahoma, and they destroyed, I believe it was an FCS team, so Tulane's looking good. Michigan's looking good. They can run the ball really well. I know Washington hasn't looked great, but they also beat what I expect to be a pretty good Western Michigan team. Michigan State out of nowhere. I thought Michigan State was going to be a dumpster fire. Honestly, I thought this Michigan State team was a disaster. I honestly thought, I'm going to be honest, I thought them, Illinois, and Purdue were the 3 worst teams in the Big Ten. Illinois beat Nebraska, Purdue beat Oregon State, and shut out UConn. And Michigan State, I mean, they're looking good. I believe, they played Northwestern in their first game. I don't think Northwestern's that great, so I'm going to put them at 4th on the honorable mentions, but watch out for the Spartans. They may be a team to beat. Nevada beat Cal, they're looking pretty good. Kansas State, I think they struggled against Southern Illinois. Maybe it's just a hangover after Stanford. I'm not quite sure, but I'll still put them on the honorable mentions. Stanford upset USC, so there's that. That win is looking better. Miami, they almost lost to App State, who I have next. I put Miami ahead just because they won, but App State, they're a pretty good team, but Miami, they shouldn't be. They should be a good team. They should be able to blow out App State and be competitive with Alabama. I'm a little worried if I'm a Hurricanes fan. And then Texas to round it out. Maybe Arkansas is just that good. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and have them close out the honorable mentions. I dropped number 15 Texas from my poll. Then I have number 23 Utah and number 25 Miami dropping out. Of course, because both teams lost. Or Miami won, but barely. We just talked about that. So, that is my top 25 for today. Let me know what you think about it down below. And yeah, I don't have much else to say. If you want to hear more of my opinions on this crazy week of college football, make sure to go and check out my podcast down below. I want to say thank you very much for watching, all of you, and I'll see you all later. Take care.